Emotions. One of the things that makes us human. Despite of solving difficult equations, able to build the highest towers, innovating new technologies, governing our cities, and finding a new cure for diseases. Throughout the years of evolution explained by Charles Darwin and other theories about emotions, and numbers of debates of historians, specifically were emotions to be found in nature or were nurtured in culture.
Historians play a huge part for emotion research, and some are reaching out for science. Hi, I'm Roma Bien from Sci1A3, and this is the nervous system and its influence to emotional behavior.
Anger, fear, sadness, happiness, disgust, and being surprised are the 6 universal emotions according to the researchers.
One of the aspects of emotion is biology, meaning all emotions are originated from the central nervous system, from its major part, which is the encephalon, or what we call the brain. In that brain, we could see the limbic system and other parts such prefrontal cortex and cerebral hemisphere, which are the precise brain parts that are responsible for emotional behavior. In this video, we're going to tackle how the limbic system and other parts of the brain influence the emotional behavior of a certain person.
Let us start with the whole structure. The limbic system is composed of hypothalamus, thalamus, amygdala, and hippocampus. The hypothalamus. The hypothalamus strongly influences many functions including autonomic, endocrine, and behavioral functions. The other way that hypothalamus controls things is via the pituitary gland. It is neurally and chemically connected to the pituitary, which in turn pumps hormones called releasing factors into the bloodstream.
In short, hypothalamus regulates our autonomic nervous system. So why hypothalamus is important for our emotions? I will give you an example. Whenever you're going to have antidepressants and you know that you're not good speaking in front of the people or with the families and such, the result would be you're gonna sweat, your heart pounding so fast and such. Meaning whenever you're going to have an emotion, it has an effect, but it's just temporarily effect to your autonomic organs.
Next is the thalamus, or the Grand Central Station. This structure is found at the heart of the forebrain and is responsible for emotion processing, such as fear, sadness, disgust, happiness, and pleasure.
Emotions are always dependent on the things what you see, what you hear, what you touch. For example, you heard the gunshot. It is very loud, but you consider that the person holding that gun is near at your place. And that's where the thalamus reacts. So it's very important for our emotion.
Next would be the amygdala. This limbic structure involved in many brain functions, including emotion, learning, and memory.
Part of the system that processes and reflexive emotions like fear, anxiety, anger, and that could be result of violent behavior.
The hippocampus. The hippocampus has several functions. It also has significant contribution to understanding spatial relations within the environment. Additionally, the hippocampus is critically involved in many declarative memory functions.
By means of memories, it could turn the short-term memory into long-term one. In connection to emotion, Because of this structure, it is understandable that whenever you remember a memory, though it is short or long, it can induce emotion. Like when you remember you had your first achievement, such being a good student, or even you had your first salary, that could evoke emotions such happiness.
However, there are two parts of the brain that are responsible for emotion as well, but they are not included in the limbic system. This would be the prefrontal cortex and the cerebral hemisphere.
Prefrontal cortex function is planning, decision making, problem solving, self control, and acting with long term goals in mind. It is a higher level cognitive process that people tend to display greater proficiency in than other animals.
Another example would be you have this classmate and she or he irritates you so much that you want to hit her or him, but you will not do it because your prefrontal cortex has ability to understand and comprehend that hitting your classmate is not actually the solution or option at all.
According from biological psychology of Kalat, the difference between the hemisphere relates to the personality. On the average, people with greater activity in the frontal cortex of the left hemisphere tend to be happier, more outgoing, and more fun-loving. People with greater right hemisphere activity tend to be socially withdrawn, less satisfied with activity, and prone to unpleasant emotion. However, new study shows by Dr. Guy Wigenheitz, Celine Burke-Mose, and Natalie Strubat using the transcranial Doppler ultrasonography, an inexpensive, non-invasive, and patient-friendly way to measure blood flow velocity in the brain's left and right middle cerebral arteries. As they listened to the sentences, participants pointed to the appropriate emotion on the card listing them. Using both fingers to minimize setting off to one side of the brain only, Wiegand-Heights and others found that when participants were asked to focus on what was said, blood flow velocity went up significantly on the left side of the brain. When participants shifted attention to how it was said, like whether happy, sad, anxious, angry, or neutral, velocity also went up markedly on the right side of the brain. However, it did not go down on the left, probably, say the researchers, because the left brain processes meaningful semantic content automatically and also helps to label the emotions. This means both sides of the brain play a role in processing emotional communication. So what about the function of emotions? Well, for certain emotions, the answer is clear. Fear alert us to escape from danger. Anger direct us to attack an intruder. Disgust tell us to avoid something that might cause illness. The adaptive value of happiness, sadness, embarrassment, and other emotions is less obvious, although researchers have suggested some plausible possibilities. And also, emotions provide a useful guide when we need to make a quick decision. It's just that the interpretation is that people who are good at detecting their autonomic responses may have valid gut feelings about dangers that they cannot identify consciously. According to Kalat, we base our important decision like how we think about the outcome and who surrounds us. For this case, there would be 4 dilemmas. Imagine yourself in the situation. The trolley dilemma. A runaway trolley is headed toward 5 people on a track. The only way you can prevent their death is to switch the trolley onto another track, where it will kill 1 person. Would it be right to pull the switch? Another one is the footbridge dilemma. You're standing on a footbridge overlooking a trolley track. A runaway trolley is headed toward 5 people on a track. The only way you can prevent their death is to push a heavy-set stranger off the bridge onto the track so that he will block the trolley. Would it be right to push him? The lifeboat dilemma. You and 6 other people are on the lifeboat in icy waters, but it is overcrowded and starting to sink. If you push one of the people off the boat will stop sinking and the rest of you will survive. Would it be right to push someone off? The last one would be the hospital dilemma. You are the surgeon, and the 5 of your patients will die soon unless they get the organ transplant. Each needs the transplant of a different organ. You haven't been able to find an organ donors for any of them. Then a nurse bursts into your office. Good news! A visitor to the hospital has just arrived, who has exactly the same tissue type as all 5 of your patients. We can kill the visitor and use the organs to save the 5 others. Would it be right to do so?
While doing the experiment to the participants, brain scans show that anticipating the footbridge or lifeboat dilemma activates the brain areas known to respond to emotion, which are the amygdala, prefrontal cortex, and cingulate gyrus. Because of activation of amygdala, we do not want other person to feel pain from our actions. In short, when we are making decisions about right and wrong, we seldom work it out reasonably.
Study of people with brain damage also shed light on the functions of emotion, particularly with relation to moral behavior and decision making. Far from being an impediment to the intelligent behavior, emotional reactions are often a useful quick guide to appropriate action. Far from being an impediment to intelligent behavior, emotional reactions are often a useful quick guide to appropriate actions. In short, understanding emotions and understanding their biology go hand in hand. These parts of the brain that I discuss is not the only responsible for our emotions. Our brain is interconnected that make it emotions very complex that until now more discoveries were made and still on process. Using a lot of instruments such MRI, ultrasound, or voltage clamp really helps to understand this emotion biologically. Again, I'm Roma Bian from Sci 183, and this is the nervous system and its influence on emotional behavior.